In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front bumper cover on this Volkswagen Beetle. Let's get into it. Lift the battery cover. I'm going to disconnect the negative terminal first using a 10mm wrench. Take that off, take the negative cable off. Now you can take the positive cable off the same way using the 10mm wrench. Loosen that up. Slide that out of the way. Right down here, we're going to take the battery mount off. Use a 13mm socket. Take the bolt out. Get the bolt out, and then the bracket. Where the power steering reservoir is, there should be a bolt. You want to take that bolt out. This vehicle doesn't have it, just to get that out of the way so that we can slide the battery out. Just grab the battery. If you have a handle, you want to use that. Tip it up. And we can slide it out. There's a lever right here, and it's sticking a little bit, so I'm just going to use some silicone spray and just spray where that lever is. Now, we removed the battery to do this. You don't necessarily have to remove the battery, but it's easier to see or access where the lever is. So we can slide that little lever up. Just spray a little more spray in there. There we go. That's all the way up. Grab the light, and the light slides right out. Disconnect the connector right here. Just push down on the tab. Slides out. You can see how this locking system works when you move this lever up and down. So with it down, that's when you push the light in, and then as you push it in and close it, it will lock it in place. So it can get gunked up pretty good with some dirt and debris, so it may be difficult to move. And just slide the light right out. Disconnect the connector, push down on the tab, and it slides out. Underneath here, if you have any push tabs or clips, you want to disconnect those. This vehicle does not have it. It should be connected in these areas, so pull those out. Disconnect this connector right here. That's for the ambient air temp sensor. If you have to, you can put a pick in here or a straight blade screwdriver. Slide that off. Then you want to disconnect the fog lights. This vehicle has aftermarket fog lights wired in, so we're just going to disconnect those. But there should be a connector right there. So disconnect those on both sides. On the side markers, you want to disconnect the connectors for those. You can push down on the tab, or you can grab the socket and just twist it and just slide it out. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. In the trunk, access where the spare tire is, and then you want to grab this key. That's the wheel lock if your vehicle has it, and then this is for the little cap. Just grab that. You should have a little center cap here. You want to take a straight blade screwdriver, just get underneath, pop that off. Then you can take this tool that you got out of the trunk, go in one of those holes, and then you just pull real hard, straight back. And that pulls that cap off, and you can access the lug nuts. Take the lock, that's going to go on the keyed one. I'm going to remove the front wheels using a 17mm socket. Take the lug nuts off, or lug bolts. And when I get to the last one, I'm just going to hold the wheel from falling off. And grab the wheel, slide it off. There should be 3 screws on the side here. You want to take those out with a T25. This one doesn't have the bottom one. those out. And then just to get a little bit more room, I'm going to take these ones out as well. You can use the same T25 socket. Then there's a screw that goes from the bumper into the fender. Take that out. Same T25 socket. Just to get more room, I'm going to take this bolt out, use the T25 socket. There you go. Pull this cover down and out of your way a little more. You're going to need to take the screws out here. There's 3 back here, 1 down here, 1 over here, and there's 1 that's hidden up near the shock or the strut. Take all those out. Then you can take this panel down and just slide it out. Underneath here, there's 2 screws. Use a T30 socket. Take those out. Take those both out. There's 2 nuts down here and then 2 nuts further up. You can use a 10mm socket. Take those out. Using a 10mm socket, there's a bolt here and a bolt up there. Take those out. Let's do the same on the other side. Take this cover out. I'm going to take the nuts out on this side the same way. We're going to take these 4 bolts out. Use a T30 socket. Now we're going to take all these bolts out on top of the fender. Use a T30 socket. Do the same on the other side. Now you want to pull the fender out a little bit. Might be stuck a little bit, just like that. Then the fender and the front bumper are going to come off all as one. forward like that. Do the same on the other side. Just a little bit stuck. Pull it out. And slide it forward. Very carefully. Grab both sides. It's a good idea to have a helper doing this with you, but you can do it by yourself. Slowly work it back and forth. Slides out. There we go. You want to put the bumper down on something that's soft so you don't scratch it. Now I'm going to use a T30 socket. Take these bolts out. And there's this little washer type thing on the top, and then the nuts are in the bottom of this. And then the same thing over here. Take these bolts out. And you want to hold the fender while you're doing this. And that comes apart. There should be 3 bolts on this side. And then we'll do the same on the other side. And the fender comes off. We're going to take the plate bracket off, use a T25 socket, take these screws out. Slide that off. We're going to pop this cover off. You can use a pick or a small flat blade screwdriver. Just get underneath here. Just pop that off. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, loosen the screw up. Take that out. Just grab the light and it just slides out. There's a little clip right there. You can do the same on the other side. You have these tabs on the side here. You can use a straight blade screwdriver and just try to push these in, or even a trim tool, and push them down. And go just around the rest of the bumper, just like that. They pop right out, and that slides right off. Now we're going to reinstall this lower grille and line the tabs up, just going around. Once you get them lined up pretty good, then you want to push them in and lock them down. There you go, it's all locked in. Now I'm going to reinstall the side marker lights. Just push that tab in first, line the screw up, snug it down, and then put this little cover on. Do the same on the other side. Reinstall the plate bracket, just line it up. Take the screws, get those started. And you may have had rivets in there. If you have rivets, you're going to want to reinstall the rivets or get new rivets. And snug it down. Now line the fender up, same way it came off. There's a little clip right there. Line that up. And take this washer. Get the bolt started. Now I'll take the fender, line this up. We're going to get this started over here first. Line the holes up. And then you have this washer that goes on top. This has the nuts underneath. Get those lined up. And take one of the bolts, get that started. Get the other bolt started. And before we tighten that down, we're going to do the lower one as well. So this piece has to go on top of the bumper side, so keep that in mind. And very carefully, we'll tighten these down, just snug. Make sure this is all lined up good, and we'll tighten these down. Do the same on the other side. Now we're going to install the front bumper and fenders. It's easier to do this with a friend. Just get everything lined up. Look, you're going to get this lined up over here. All right, that's lined up there. Try to get the fenders lined up. Where they're supposed to go. Get all those studs lined up. When you're putting the bumper and fenders in, you want to pay attention to these tabs in the headlight well right here. Those all have to be lined up. So before you put all the bolts in, just make sure those are lined up, or you're going to have to adjust. We're going to put the bolts, get those started. Push the fenders a little bit, get everything to line up. And then these pads, these line up here on both sides where the hood meets. Get those in the right position. Those to line up. Looks good. There we go. Now we're going to tighten all these down. Just snug. bolts. One goes right there. Underneath, should be 2 there. Put the other one there as well. And this bolt over here, or screw, that one's started. Once you get those, then we can tighten those all down. Tighten that one. And tighten these nuts up. And tighten these bolts down. Now you can do the same on the other side. Now we're going to put the side marker lights in, get those lined up. Twist those to the right. Do that on both sides. And then if you had fog lights that were connected, you want to reconnect those. Do the same to this side. Tighten that down and connect the fog light. And connect the connector for the ambient temp sensor. Just lock it down. Now take this panel, slide this in place. Get all the screws started. Those are all in. Tighten those up. And then all around there, you want to tighten all those up. And then you can do the same on the other side. Where this bracket is for the headlight, what you want to do is clean this out as much as possible. You can use some compressed air. You really don't want to lubricate this with anything, or otherwise you're going to have more dirt get stuck in there. So just try to clean it out the best you can. You don't want to use any brake parts cleaner or anything that's going to ruin the plastic. You could use a little soapy water if you wanted to, and then spray it down again. Now it's time to install the headlights, and if you're having any trouble with the fitment, trying to get this lever to line up correctly, there is an adjustment here. Use an 8mm socket. Loosen up the bolt right here, just loose, you don't have to take it out. And then there's another one over here. And then this piece moves. It can move towards the back of the vehicle, or it can move to the front of the vehicle. I personally would move it to the front of the vehicle and see how the fitment is around the headlight. Make sure that's good, and then readjust accordingly. Then you can snug these down. Now we'll connect the connector and line this up. There is these runners right here. Those are going to line up with those slots right there. Get those all lined up. So you push this in a little bit and grab that lever and adjust it down. Oh, there we go. And you want to make sure that gasket's out. All right, that's out. And now push the lever down, and that's locked in place. Now put the wheel on, line it up. Take the lug bolt, get that started. And the wheel lock with the key. And then you can do the same on the other side. Line it up. Put the bolts in. And the wheel lock key with the wheel lock. Just tighten those down. Now we're going to torque these lug bolts to 89 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. And just go around again, double check. Take the key out and take the center cap. If that center ring popped out, you want to put that back in. Line that up. And pop it in place. Then if you have that little cap, you want to push that on. Now you can do the same on the other side. Just go around, double check. Take the key off. I'm going to take the battery, slide it in place. And take the hold down bracket. I'm going to slide that down at the base of the battery. Snug it down. I take the positive terminal, get that started. Snug that down, give it a shake, make sure it's tight. And then you can go to the negative, put the negative on, and the same deal. Tighten it down. Snug and give it a wiggle, and it's good, it's tight. And close the lid.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.